Well, I finally got around to tearing apart those 4570 Cowboy Action cartridges. I was trying to figure out what powder's in them. So I brought out all the usual suspects and sat and measured, each individual grain to see how thick, because it's a stick powder that's in them. Let's see. Okay. Now, all these IMR ones I have, nothing matched up with that. They're all smaller diameter or longer. Some are like a tube, and these are a solid stick. And I really couldn't draw a conclusion on what powder it is, except for a suspicion that I have. Because after I went through everything else measuring, like I say, the usual suspects, then just for the heck of it, I went at some of this accurate just to see how that compared. And the odd thing is, this stuff is the right size. Everything about this is right, except for the color. So it's not this, but it's close. The thing about this stuff, this is very shiny, and this stuff is a dull, flat, black color, kind of a sooty color. So it's not the same powder, but each granule is the same size. So I kind of suspect that what I'm dealing with in these is a 4350, but not the accurate 4350. I think it's the IMR 4350, and I don't have any of that. But there are several. There's accurate, Hodgin, and IMR. Now they're all real close in the burn rate chart. So that could be the culprit right there. The IMR 4350, and that I don't have. I have 4320. But I suspect that could be what it is. Not too terribly important, but I was curious, and I maybe will have to buy some IMR 4350 just to check if it matches up with that stuff. Because there is, on my old low data, they do have the 4350 in the IMR. And this is the old with my Lee loader. Yeah, the old charts, but a lot of times I end up going back to them. But I did a lot of digging, I did a lot of calculating. I thought this would have been a likely culprit because this gets used quite often in that sort of situation. But this is little tubes, so that didn't work out. I thought maybe Varget, because, that's a pretty common powder. But nope, Varget is the wrong color. It's a copper color and it's smaller. 3031, again, a culprit. It's too small. 4895, too small. 4064, too small. 3220, too small. So I really, like I say, this matched up in size. So there's a possibility that it's the IMR 4350. But so much for that. There was a lot of measuring and calculating going on here. Which is funny in a way. This reminds me, I was doing this. At least I have a piece of paper down on the table. But when I was a kid, my dad had never used a calculator, he never did. But when he was figuring out acreages and all this stuff, he would do it on this Formica kitchen table with a lead pencil. Well, it was a kind of a bugger because he'd get these long columns and numbers. He was a ciphering away. But then it came supper time. Of course, we wanted the table. We couldn't eat at the table because we didn't want to disturb all his ciphering going on there. At least this is paper. I can just throw this away. But I had to write this stuff all down because I was trying to, like what I did is I took 4 or 5 of them apart to try to figure out an average, because being commercially loaded, they're a little erratic. Not terribly, but they're always like a grain or 2 off, from one to the other. They can be. But the average, what I worked out was 27.22 grains of whatever this black crap is. Now that ain't a heck of a lot. When you look at the loading charts, see, that's where it would match up almost with the SR 4759, but it isn't that. But I'm curious, I'll have to take them out now. I got that chronograph working, so I'll have to see what these do. But that is what's in there. And it was kind of funny. The bullet, it's got 3 lube grooves. What I thought was funny is they've got, there's an excellent crimp groove here, just like the Lee bullet, for a roll crimp. But they didn't use it. They seated the bullet in further and used a taper crimp up here, which again looks like the Lee factory crimp die, but it isn't, because it's a 5 arms on it. But I don't know why they chose to do that, because they actually seated the bullet in further than it should be for the overall length. Not a lot, but like 11 thousandths deeper. Every one was. They're pretty consistent on their depths, but all of them too far. Bullet weight was a little bit all over the place, but that can happen with lead because, you get sometimes that little thing on the bottom, and some of them don't, and, there can be variations in lead. But the bullet seating depth, I don't know why they were doing that and why that kind of a crimp, because, well, I suppose if you're using them in a single shot, like an old Springfield, it would work fine. And I'm sure they're going to be low enough power they would work in that. But when you've got a good crimping groove, that roll crimp is so much more secure. I don't know why they did it that way. But it could be maybe they're loading jacket bullets too, and so they got that crimp set up. I don't know. But that's what it was. It was interesting, but like I say, I couldn't be definite about what powder's in there, though I will, like I say, probably get some IMR just to see if that's the deal. Because it's black, whatever it is. But no, there ain't much in a case. It's kind of hard to tell. I was shaking them and I could tell there was movement in there, but it didn't seem like much. But I think we're going to have, it's going to be a pretty slow moving thing. But it'll be interesting to try it. But I got to get all this stuff picked up again. And what I'm going to do with these, I am not going to crimp these up again. I'm going to save some of that powder for comparison later. And I'm going to load these cases with my old friend Trail Boss so that I can shoot these against these to see what kind of, you know, it's funny because that case, you know, when you shake it, but now you're shaking, you know, a 500, 405 grain bullet and then a heavy case, kind of hard to judge, but there's movement in there. Trail Boss fills it. You know, I use generally this 4cc scoop will bring me up to the base of the bullet, and that is what I use for light loads. Though they're not terrifically light. I got the feeling these are going to be really light, but that is the story on that. But now I can pick all this stuff up again. I was surprised. I really kind of expected to see this in there or this in there or 4198. I mean, all of those are powders that they use for that sort of thing. But some of them don't like to be light loaded. You know, that's see, most of these IMR, they're very small stick powders. As I say, that SR powder has got, it's a tube, it's got a hole in the middle of it. Whereas Trail Boss is one of them things, most powders are pretty distinctive. You know, you can look at them and kind of tell, but there is nothing as distinctive. Well, Red Dot is distinctive, but nothing looks like Trail Boss. Little flat donuts, but light. You know, when you buy this, you don't get a pound; you get 9 ounces. You know, there's nothing to it, and it's hard to work with because, like I say, it sticks and flies around, and you know. So it'd be hard to meter, but by using this scoop thing, that works. But that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to load these with Trail Boss and crimp them on the roll crimp, and then shoot them. You know, it's not a bad bullet. It's got the 3 lube grooves in it, but why they crimped it up there, I do not know, and why set it so deep, I do not know. Yeah, well, I think that'd have been problematic. But I really like to see that roll crimp in a lever gun because they aren't moving. These, you know, you're counting on tension.